Alright, let's go ahead and go for red rares. Start with the Conspiracy Theorist. Whenever it attacks, you may pay 1 and discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Love it. Love it already. Whenever you discard one or more non-land cards, you may exile one of them from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast... Wait, what? Okay, so... I play this on turn 2. On turn 3, I attack with it and I pay 1. I discard a 2/2 for 2, and I draw a card. And then that 2/2 that I discarded for 2 is exiled, and I can pay 2 mana to play it. Yeah, this reminds me of the Exert 2/2 was a Battlefield Scrounger. Reminds me a lot of that. Yeah, Battlefield Scavenger. Whenever you use a creature, you may just gotta go draw a card. It kind of reminds me of that. And this card is really good. I think just as a rummager, this card is good. There's a chance that it's just like a 2/2 draw card, right? That's draw 2 cards. If you pay mana, it's like an 8. Yeah. Cool card. Yeah, you're right. I didn't. The second paragraph of this card does. You don't have to use its ability for that. If you discard any one of Morgan on-lands cards in any way. You're right. I don't know if that's gonna matter, but this is probably gonna be a 2/2. I mean, that 2/2 you're talking about Robber of the Rich. I mean, that card was pretty bad and sealed. So, Clefairy Towns. It says non-land. Whenever you discard one or more non-lands. Every learn card rummages. That's a good point. TF Fleetman, you're right. Every learn card you could use for this to make all your learn cards into cantrips. You're right. Hard to work with cantrips, but cantrips nonetheless. You could. I think the floor for this is likely a 2/2 draw card for red. That potentially pays rent. I don't think it's going to be very hard for this to draw your card. So I think you have to work at it, but it's like a 2/2 draw card that may be better, and that's a pretty high floor. I think that's worth an 8. Phil Renz, we're talking about how the second paragraph it doesn't have to attack. Like it's whenever you discard in any way. It's not a 9. We weren't talking about making it a 9. It's not a 9. Not a 9.5, no. I think it requires a lot of setup. It requires way too much mana. It's like a 2+4, right, to draw a card. Is what it's probably going to be. Maybe 2+5 to draw a card. Yeah. It's not a 9. Nobody was talking about making it a 9 except you. Alright. As additional cost to cast a spell, exile an instant sorcery card from your graveyard. Draconic Intervention deals X damage to each non-dragon creature where X is the exiled card's mana value. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. Exile this card. So you exile a 4-drop sorcery, and it deals 4 damage to each non-dragon, and if they would die, they get exiled. That could be a good Wrath, depending. This is maybe a 6 or a 7, I think. Maybe it's a 6. There's a large difference between 4-cost rats and higher cost rats. Yeah, this is probably a 6. I generally don't like rats and sealed. This is super conditional. This is like really, really conditional. Like your opponent has to have smaller creatures, and you had to have as an instant sorcery in your graveyard. It's likely that you can't even play this on turn 4. Yeah, I don't like these types of effects at all. And if your opponent has like a 6/6, you're never gonna kill it, right? I don't know. I think this is better. I think Draconic Intervention. I think it's gonna be better than Devastating Mastery. I think it's better. I think it's better than that. What makes a Wrath worse than sealed? Well, first of all, you have to. This card requires like the one of the problems with rats are you generally have to not play cards. Like if my opponent keeps a 7-card hand, and I go 2-drop, 3-drop on the play, and my opponent does nothing on turn 2 and turn 3, then I'm not going to play my 4-drop on turn 4. And because they probably have a Wrath. And so now you're going to Wrath on turn 4, or whatever, turn 5. And then I'm going to play my 5-drop. And then you're going to be stuck in a situation where I'm at 20, you're probably up between 10 and 12. 10 or 12, 10 or 13, and I have a 5-drop on the board, and you're in a bad spot. So like the Wrath didn't even help you. And that's sort of where it is. Like the problem with Wraths is they are easy to see coming, and your opponent is first to the board. So you're in a, like, when you play the Wrath, you're in a bad spot, and after you cast the Wrath, you are likely still in a bad spot. And this can't even kill things that are big, that are too big. It's like super conditional. Right, like it's so much more likely that you would much rather just like play your 2/2s on turn 2, play your 3/3s on turn 3, play your 4/4s on turn 5, and then have a 5/5 on turn 5 rather than have a Wrath in your hand. I agree. It's like it's so much more likely you'd rather just have an uncurved creature than a Wrath of God. In sealed anyways. And it's especially dangerous in most sealed formats, because most sealed formats blue is the best color, and in most of the sealed formats players have a ton of counterspells in their main deck, between like 1 and 3. And so you can't even count your Wrath actually even resolving, especially in the previous format where there were multiple counterspells people played main deck. Now in this format though, I don't think there are very many. I mean there's like a remove soul and there's like a negate. There's like 2 negate type effects, so maybe there are actually, now that I think about it. But there's some in Mystical Archive as well. There's like literally negate in Mystical Archive. Yeah, I'm not impressed. This actually might be a 5. But this is a 5. Oh yeah, and the Remand just owns this. You're right. There's a Remand. There's a 2 and a blue Remand too. That's like a 9 out of 10 that you're always gonna play against. Yeah. No, I'm off it. Efreet Flame Painter. 4 cost 1/4, double strike. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into graveyard, exile instead. This card was in the past and it was terrible. So it was literally awful. I tried to make it work lots of times. It never did anything. It was called Wildfire Elemental. Oh, this goes from your hand, and this Flame Painter goes from your graveyard. I agree. There's one that goes from the graveyard. I forgot what it was called. Not the 2-mana 1/3 trample, the other one. There was another one that does it, but... Dreadhorde Arcanist, yeah, there's Dreadhorde Arcanist, but... Dreadhorde Arcanist is a card you never played in Limited either, in Sealed. Maybe this is better. This is not from your hand, it's from your graveyard, you're right. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. It's probably pretty busted. It's pretty busted with Enthusiastic Study. It becomes the first strike happens and it's a 4/5 first strike trample and it hits them and you learn and then you can target this and you cast it again and you learn again. In which you can like discard a spell in your hand, or you can just like learn again, and so it hits for 4, then it hits for 7, so it hits for 11 with Enthusiastic Study, and you learn or just like rummage twice. All right, so maybe this card's really good. Requires some setup. Maybe it's either an 8 or a 9. Maybe now that I think about it. No, you're right. This is probably a 9. Because I can imagine even a fight spell with this, your opponent loses all their creatures, right? Like the +1/+2 in fight spell turns into like a 2/6. 2/6 double strike that it's attacking. I mean, you probably took some damage. There's like a 2/4 double strike that attacks, that they don't block, they lose their other creature as well. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. This is probably a 9. No, you're right. I had such a bad experience with Wildfire Elemental that it kind of scarred me. So that's why I wanted to bring it. Why I wanted to bring it up. Because this seal format is one of my favorite seal formats of all time, and I tried Wildfire Elemental so many times and it never worked. But you're right. It goes from your hand instead of the graveyard. What would I rate a 1/4 double strike for 4? Probably a 6. There's a 3-mana 1/2 double strike in the format that I rated really poorly, like a 4, right? This guy, Twin Skull Shaman. I might rate this one as a 3. But high toughness is much more valuable. Like a 4-mana 2/4 is way better than a 3-mana 2/2. I just like the baseline for this is a 4-mana 2/4, which is a card that's like a pretty playable card in sealed. It's not like a happy card to play. Like the baseline for this is the baseline for a 4-mana 2/4 is like a 3 or 4. But the fact that it's double strike is better, so it's like at least a 5 or a 6, and then it has this like text box that if it hits them they lose. So like I don't even know how this can hit a player and you lose the game, right? I would find it pretty hard to believe that this hits a player and you lose. So you may pay 2 red instead of this kills. Wait, it costs 3 red. What was it called? It was called Wildfire. Oh, Wildfire Eternal. Sorry, it's called Wildfire Eternal. Looks like an elemental to me, but all the fire everywhere. But no, it's like a little minotaur fellow. Jackal, my bad. Search your deck for up to 3 cards. Put them into your hand. Shuffle, then discard 3 cards at random. This is a combo card. Like maybe it's a. This is a 1. It's a 1 unless you have the combo with it. Yeah. I think it's a 1 unless you have a combo. I don't know what the combo would be. Maybe if you have a free lane painter in play and you cast this, like fill your graveyard with the instants and sorceries to get. I don't know. Yeah, if you have the Wrath to get, you get like Wrath and 2 lands. And hopefully you don't discard your Wrath and you can like cast it next turn. Yeah, I mean, I could see uses for it. But, yeah. Oh, this can go find, you know what? This can go find the Bookworm, actually, right? It finds the Bookworm. That's not terrible. But. Alright, Flame Scroll Celebrant. Whenever an opponent activates an ability that isn't a mana ability... Okay, so this is much worse than the 1/3. What was it called? There was a 1/3 with a 3 red for a +3/+3 in menace. Was it Immolation Shaman? Yeah, it was literally Immolation Shaman. Immolation Shaman was really good. This one was really good. But this is not. This is not. I don't know. In the... Wait a minute. In Ixalan, there was a common 2-cost 2/2 pirate that had that +2/0 for 2, right? What was it called? I know it's a flip side. I'm looking at the front side right now. Fathom Fleet Firebrand. And this was like one of the best commons in the format, right? Oh, this is only +2 mana for +1/0. And this card was really good. But I guess it being a 2/1 kind of sucks. I mean, it's fine. It's a fine card. You play it. It's like a 6. The front side's a 6, so what's the back side? Okay, well. Okay. Doesn't do anything. Your opponents can't cast spells or activate Planeswalker Loyalty. Oh, no, it can't cast spells. Okay, so it's like a Time Walk, I guess? It's a Time Walk, they draw a card for white. It's Orm's Chant, yeah. It's not a white counter spell. If you do this in response to a spell, it doesn't do anything. Well, silence was a 1 and was a 1 and sealed. So, well, abeyance, you drew a card, not them. Don't you dare compare this to abeyance. Abeyance was a stupid card. Yeah, let's not talk about abeyance. That one was dumb. This is not abeyance. No, it's not. Yeah, they can still attack you. Okay, no. This is a 6, I think. It's a what? You only play this for the red ability. For the red part of the red part of the text. You would never play the white card. The white card's terrible. Don't do it. It's just the front side. Triggers Magecraft. Yeah, you're right. Triggers Magecraft. You got me. Alright. Plark, Dean of Chaos. Tap, just got a card, draw a card. I love a Rummager. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary, non-land card with mana value 3 or less. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put over... Wait, what? It just, like, puts a 3-drop from your deck into play? Oh, it's non-land. So it can hit spells. Wait, it just does it. It just... This is like the definition of... Like a teacher moves in to your apartment that you're renting out and he just like pays you every turn, and sometimes he invites you over for dinner. Yeah, good. It's great. Always play it. Yeah, and look, at the McDonald's, yeah, the dinner may be McDonald's, but it's warm. Wait, that card has another side? Why does this card have another side? It does. You're right. Okay. Other tapped creatures you control get +1/0. Other untapped creatures you can go get +1/1. Whenever you attack, untap each creature you control, then tap any number of creatures you control. Okay, yeah. This is a 9. Right? Yeah, this is cool. It's like a selective... Pump your team? Yeah. You would play either side of this card as a 9. So, this card's great. What if you could play both sides? If I had like an X-Acto knife and I like... When I had this card, I just like cut it down the center like very precisely to get like 2 separate pieces of cardboard and just like play them both. It'd be great. 9 for both sides. Flying and haste. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, learn. So 4 cost you 2 flying haste, learn. I'm on board. As long as it's in your graveyard, if you would learn, you may instead return Retrieval Phoenix to the battlefield. Oh, it's to the battlefield even. Oh. Yeah. That's cool. That is a good card. It's not as good as the other. It's not as good as Plark, right? It's not as good as this. It's like an 8 at best, right? Yeah, it only learns when you cast it. So if you use the learn ability to put it into the battlefield, you don't get to learn again. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah. You get a surprise blocker if you have a learn card that's an instant, and that's cool. Yeah, I like that it puts it directly into play. XXXRR deals 5 times X to up to X targets. Okay, so it's 2 mana, deal 0. 2 mana, discard. It's 5 mana, deal 1. So, okay, so it's 5 mana, deal 5 to any target. It is 8 mana, deal 10 to 2 targets. Right? So it's 8 mana, deal 10 in their face. Yeah. Yeah, you can target face. A face is a target. It's a lava axe. It's a strictly better pigment storm, right? I mean, I guess this does. I mean, I guess you can kill a 3/3 and it deals 2 to their face or whatever, but it's mostly better. Yeah, this is like a 9. I would almost splash for this. Oh, we're not gonna talk about if you have what, 11 mana, 3, 6, 9. If you have 11 mana, it deals 15 to 3 targets. Yeah. 14 mana is 20 to 25 point fireball. Yeah. But Crackle with Power makes, if you have this guy in your deck, if you have Stormkiln Artist in your deck, now you're looking at Crackle with Power like, okay, well, I got plans, all right? Oh, Channel's in the format, you're right. Channel's literally in the format. It's a Mystical Archive card, right? Yeah, Channel's in the format. There you go. You can kill them turn 4. Green, red, take 20. That might happen once in the format. Oh boy. Okay, Rowan, Scholar of Sparks. Instead of sorceries, you cost 1 less to cast. Good. +1. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. If you've drawn 3 or more cards this turn, it deals 3 to them instead. Okay, that's not impressive. -4. You get an emblem with, whenever you cast an inner sorcery spell, you may pay 2. If you do, copy it. Okay, whatever. You think Crackle's a 10? I don't think Crackle's a 10 because it costs too much mana. I mean, by that, you're saying that any X spell would be a 10 at that point, say it's Zelda. I mean, I don't think that's the case. Fireball, like, removal spells are baseline 8s, and this is better than a removal spell, so it's a 9. It can single-handedly win the game, but you're asking a lot. It's a lot of setup. And if it has a lot of setup, then it's not single-handedly winning the game, right? So. But anyways, Rowan, Scholar of Sparks. If front side, not impressive. If front side's a card you would probably not play. Maybe you would. I doubt I would even play the front side. If I was just a red deck. Yeah, it only starts with 2 loyalty. That's not a lot. Alright, so backside is 5 mana. Instant sorcery spells you cost 1 less to cast. +1 up to 1 target creature that has base power 0/2 until your next turn. Okay, so it's a defensive ability. -3, draw 2 cards. Exile up to 5 target permanents. Yeah, sure. For each card burn exile this way, its controller creates a 4/4. So you you probably sack like 4 of yours and 1 of your opponents, right? You get 4. Maybe you sack 3 of yours and 2 of your opponents. I don't know, but probably 4 and 1. This is probably a 10. Yeah, Terrastodons, right? Yep. But it costs 5 instead of 8. And they have passives on their. This might be a 10. This is a 10 probably. It just does way too much for it to not be a 10. I think the backside is a 5. I think the red side. I think this is a 5. I think this is like a 5 or a 4. But the backside is a 10, so it's a 10. This is a 10 because it requires no setup and it's hard to kill, and even if they kill it, you still draw 2 cards, and that's everything what a 10 should be. So I'm evaluating the card holistically, not just. Yeah, and it's easily splashable. Yeah. I'm not gonna just call it I'm not gonna call it a 4 out of 10. 4/10. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna ruin my rating. Card's just a 10. Fine, I'll do that just for you. I'll do it just for you. 5 parentheses 10 just for you. Alright, so that's red. Red is really impressive. We'll talk when we go over every color later on, I'll talk about it. But red has been really impressive. They have a lot of like pretty high power cards all across the board. So Let's go on to green.